rational numbers. What we're going to take a look at with this lesson, and it's a very quick one, is you can explain what a rational number is. Please don't hold the poor grammar against me. It's just that's the main thought. We're going to explain what it literally is, and that part is about to come. So let's go ahead and take a look at the definition. What is a rational number? Well, a rational number is any number or numbers that can be written into a fraction. So when you do this, what I want you to do is I want to put a highlighter on here, and where I highlight can be, I want you to actually circle it. So here we go. That can be written as a fraction. What I'm talking about is if we looked at the number, let's just say 4. Here's 4. Can I write 4 as a fraction? I sure can. We just put a 1 under it. So we can take any integer, like -2, and we can make it into a fraction by putting a 1 under it. So 4 is the same as 4 over 1. -2 is the same as -2 over 1. So what I've just proven is that all integers are capable of being turned into a fraction. And if they can be written as a fraction, then we'll call it a rational number. That's really all that it comes down to. Some special cases there. What about 0? Can 0 be written as a fraction? Absolutely. Put a 1 under it. Looks really weird, but it's true. 0 divided by 1 is 0. So that's a fraction. What about something larger like -1,335? Well, -335. Almost made a mistake there. You turn it into a fraction just by putting a 1 under it. So these are 4 numbers that are all rational, not because they are a fraction, but because they can be turned into a fraction. Let's go ahead and take a look at all the different types of numbers that rational numbers include. First off, any whole number, and that's what we just looked at there. Sometimes they're called counting numbers, but you know, -4, -3, -2, -1, +1, 2, 3. And I skipped 0 on purpose because 0 is kind of its own category. We can turn 0 into a fraction. We can turn all the whole numbers into a fraction, so rational. We also have to take a look at positive and negative integers. Well, there we go. They're right up here, right next to our whole numbers. And what about right here at 4? Positive and negative fractions. Yes, if it's already a fraction, it's a rational number. See 1/2? Can we write 1/2 as a fraction? Yeah, it already is a fraction, so it's rational. Negative fractions, you've not really seen that before, so let's look at that. -3/4. Okay, now you can say you've seen a negative fraction. Guess what? It's still a fraction. In our definition, it just said as a fraction. It didn't say positive fractions. It didn't say negative fractions. It just said, can we write it as a fraction? Well, that would include negative fractions. And now here's an extra piece of information for you that I'm not going to have on the test, but it'll show up next year. Basically, any positive and negative terminating and repeating decimals. What does terminating mean? It just means the decimals stop. They don't go on forever. So like 0.2 or 0.134, or how about 2.6789? See how the decimals stop? Even though they're kind of bigger down here, you know, more decimals, it terminates. So we're saying any decimal that stops, we can turn this into a fraction, and that'll be for future lessons. And then we can also take a look at repeating decimals, and you've seen those before. The fraction 1/3 will turn into 0.3 repeating, right? And what that means is that it's nothing but 3's that keep on repeating forever. It never ends unless you round it. And you know, that also includes all the crazy things like what about repeating decimal of 67, where it's literally 0.67 forever unless you round it. So we're saying these 2 types of decimals we can turn into fractions. I'm not going to show you how, just an extra piece of information, and that'll show up next year. Anyway, to recap, what is a rational number? It's any number that can be written as a fraction. If it's already a fraction, rational. If it can be turned into a fraction, then it's also a rational number. So if you had to explain to somebody what a rational number is, what would you tell them? Hopefully, it's got that basic idea of any number that can be turned into a fraction.